So that's going to be what today's session would be all about. But before I start the session, I would like to ask if we all have an idea of what Style3D is, or if we've heard about the software before, or if we've even used the software before. I don't know if we can quickly do that. We can unmute, or we can just drop a message in the chat if that's fine by us. Oh, okay. So I said that have we heard about Style3D, and have we used the software before? And if we have, what's our experience like? And if we have not, do we have any experience with any 3D software? And I also did mention that today's session would be 100% practical. And it would be okay if we have like maybe a laptop and Style3D installed and something like that, so that we can follow along. And I also did mention that this is a crash course, so it's going to take us from explaining what the whole Style3D studio look like to creating something in Style3D. I don't know if you get the question now.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I understand the question. My name is Khalalet. I'm from Gaborone in Botswana. I've had the opportunity to try. I like trying out different softwares. I'm a creative technologist, so I have tried Marvelous Designer and CLO, and only yesterday I downloaded Style3D, and then I've been trying to do a few things. I've tried to load in the avatar and then the garment, and it's quite smooth to use, apart from it crashing my computer because I'm using an old computer. But I've tried it and I'm loving it.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice to hear. That's really nice to hear. So we're going to be looking at it, and you have the freedom today to ask me as much question as possible if you've tried it before, and if this is just your first time of trying it. I think we have over 1 hour to kind of like look into this together and talk about this. And I would really love if this is a very conversational session where we get to interact and we get to ask a lot of questions. So for today's session, I didn't really prepare anything for us to create. I want it to be a conversational session, like I mentioned, where we choose something to create, or we just kind of like come together to create something wonderful. So to begin with, I would start by explaining the whole Style3D studio for us. So this is how Style3D studio look like, and this part that I presently have my mouse is called the 3D window, and this part is called the 2D window. And we have the resource library on this side. If you can't see your resource library, so for an example, if you install the software and you can't find your resource library here, you just have to come over to this icon here to get your resource library. So Style3D Studio is basically used to create 3D garments that can be worn virtually, both in games like Fortnite, Second Life, Santa, and a host of others. And you can use it for AR filters, you can use it for filters in Effect House, you can use it for filters in a lot of things. You can use for TikTok filters, Snapchat filters, and a host of others. And also you can use to create virtual reality as well, and try on and auto fitting as well. So this is like the home On the home is where you have like a lot of keys, a lot of tools rather. You can see different tools, but we'll be practicalizing these tools so that we understand the function of these tools before we then go ahead and create something fantastic today. So I'm going to load in an avatar, a default avatar. So your avatar is also on your resource library. If you just install Style3D, you might not have like a couple of some of this stuff that I have, or you might not have as much avatar as this, but you really do not need so much avatar like that. So I'm just going to load in. So to load in an avatar, you just need to double click, or if you don't want to double click, you just right click on whichever avatar you want to use, and it brings something like load, open folder. You just click on load and you have the same pop up just like we did before. You leave it as open and you click OK. So once that is done, it takes a bit of time and your avatar would show up in less than a few minutes. So let's just wait for this to finish showing up. Okay, good. Yeah, it says. So this is our avatar, and your avatar is like a body that you have in the physical world that you're trying to dress. Like someone comes to your fashion studio to get a dress, you have to take their measurement and things like that to construct the dress. So your client in this case is the avatar, which is our mannequin that we're going to be using today. So just synonymous, that someone in the real life and someone and your avatar on the Style3D studio. So we have our move tool, which I like to call the big arm tool, or you can call it the Q tool, because the shortcut is Q. So you use it to kind of like move patterns around, which I would show us in a bit. So I'm going to load in a default pattern from my garment. I'll just go to garment and I'm going to load in this female default pattern so as to kind of like show us how to use all the tools we have here on Style3D. So this is like a default garment, which is pre-made already. So I'm using this garment to just show us how the Style3D studio work in terms of the tool. So like I mentioned, the Q tool, you can just type Q on your keyboard, and once you click on Q on your keyboard, you have the tool. Then the tool is used to move your patterns from one position to another. So that's the function of the tool. The tool is used to move your patterns from one position to another, or scale your pattern. If I want to scale the pattern, whatever it is I want to do in terms of movement, I use the Q tool. Then the next one we'll be looking at is the Z tool, which is the one next to the Q tool. So it's the edit pattern tool. You use it to edit your pattern, or use it to edit lines, points from one point. So for an example, if I want to extend this point on my pattern, this is the tool I'm going to use to extend this point. As you can tell, the first tool we look at, which is the move tool, cannot extend a point. It can only extend the whole pattern. It cannot extend a specific part of the pattern, but my Z tool can extend different part of the pattern. For an example, if I don't want to extend the point and I want to extend the line, as you can see, I can extend this line in my pattern. So that's the function of the Z tool. And also the Z tool is used to extend points, like I mentioned the other time. So the next tool we are going to look at is the curve tool, which is the one after the Z tool. So that's the function. Once you click on the curve tool, you have all these curve points, and under the curve tool, we actually have more than one curve tool under the curve tool. We have a couple of them. We have the edit curve tool, which is C, edit arc tool, we have the edit corner. So this edit corner, for an example, is only used when you want to like make curves in corners of your your patterns, on different corners of your pattern. So it only works for like corner stuffs. You can't use it for a place that is not corner. For an example, as you can tell, it can't work on this part. I can only use it on the parts that on the corner parts. That's only where I can use this tool. And we have the edit curve tool. As you can tell, once I click the edit curve tool, you can see these points that are showing up. So that's just to the purple points. That's just to give you an idea that this tool has been used on this part of the garment, and this tool. So to use this tool, can you see, you use it to create curve either up, and once the curve is done, it actually creates a point once you're done with using the curve. So if I try to extend this one for an example or put it back, you see that I have like a point. A point is being made, a purple point is being made when I try to do that. As you can see, this is the purple point. Then I think under that as well, we have the edit arc. It's similar to the curve too, but what this one does is it actually can make your curve straight, but it does not create a point like the edit curve. So that's like the visible difference. Their functions is almost the same thing. The only difference is one creates a point and the other one does not create a point. And you can use one for maybe you have a curve before and you want to make it like a straight line or stuff. One easily work for that and the other does not really work for that. So the other one we have is our pen tool, which is the D tool. So if you click on D on your keyboard, you have the pen tool. So the pen tool is a tool that you can actually use to create your own pattern. So for an example, I'm just going to go back to my Q tool to move this away, and I'm going to move this away from the avatar as well. So if I want to create or sketch a pattern here, I can use my D tool. I'll just click on D on my keyboard. Then I can come here and create like one point here to this part for the neckline, for an example. And I can create like the shoulder. Then I can come ahead and create like the armhole. Then I can still go ahead and just trace this out like this. Have something like this, then maybe something like this. So you use this tool to actually draft your patterns or to kind of like trace out, and you can also use it to, if I want to create maybe like a flower or something within this pattern, I can do that as well. So for an example, if I want to create a shape within this pattern, I can come and do something like that. Maybe I want to create something like this, maybe just the shape within this pattern. I can use this tool to do that as well. And I can also bring in something that I want to trace. Maybe there's a particular pattern I've seen online and I want to trace that pattern. I can actually use this tool to just trace out that particular, maybe there's a flowery stuff, or maybe I want to do cutout, or maybe I want to do some sort of embellishment. So I can use this to do that as well. Then the next tool we are going to be looking at is our shape tool. Under the shape tool, you have your rectangle, you have your oval, you have your internal dot, and you have a host of others. So I'll take them one after the other. The first one we're going to look at is our rectangle, which the shortcut is S. So so once you click on your S, you can use that to draw. Maybe you want to, I'm going to go back to Q to move this here. So maybe you want to create a skirt for an example, or maybe a dress or something, maybe a sleeveless dress or something, and I want to use a triangle. I just go to my S and I just do something like this. Something like this, then I can then go ahead and start like shaping the dress out and making it like freehand to kind of like create the sort of dress or garment that I want. So practically this is how this two work. Then we have the sphere, which is E. The shortcut is E. So you can use this one to create a perfect circle. So to create a perfect circle, just make sure you're holding down Shift, and you would see the numbers by the side. You'll see the numbers by the four sides that they are being equal. But if I release my hand, you'll see that it's not all that equal anymore. So I can use it to create an oval. But if I hold down Shift now, it's going to like be an equal stuff, and I'm going to have like a very perfect circle looking shape. I'm not going to go through all the tools today. I'm just going to go through like the basic tools that I feel would be useful. Then we also have the add point to which the shortcut is X as in X-ray, X as in yeah, I think X as in X-ray. So you can use it to add a point. So for an example, if I want to extend this part, I want to extend some part of it, not the whole part, I can just come here, right click, and just either add uniform point, or I want to add a point to a specific place. I can say maybe 23. That's one way to add the point. The other way to add the point is if I know exactly where I want to add my point, I can just put the point there, and I can go to my Z tool, which is my edit pattern tool, and I can just extend the part at which I want to extend without extending like the whole garment. So that's our tool. So so this other tool is if you want to create like spread or wideness. I like to call it the spread tool, but it's actually called the pleat tool. So you can use it to create several pleats. You can put, like, if you have a skirt, all this pleat skirt, you can use it for that. And you can use it to also pleats, like if you have, I don't know if you know some tops that have pleat and you just want to pleat the shoulders. So we have the knife pleat, the inner box pleat, and the outer box pleat. So as you can tell, as much as I'm clicking it, you can see the difference in the pleat. It has some setting. We have like the full pleat, the half pleat, depending on the kind of pleat you want to do. Then you can pick the number, say maybe 15, say maybe two forms of pleat. So you would see the difference, and you can tell it where you want to start from. If you wanted to create notch, so if I uncheck this, you can see that the red notches here are kind of like going away, and the kind of fold you want to, if it's a 360 or a 270 depending, and the kind of if you want the fold to be realistic, if you want it to look exactly like the real world, then your sewing is one part, you want it to sew one from one edge to another, or you want it to sew all the edge. So basically that's how this tool works. I won't really be diving into this tool because it's really like more advanced, and this is a crash course. I really just want us to go through the basics so that everybody has something to take home. Then we have few other tools here that I would not really be looking at, so I'll be jumping to the sewing tool. So the sewing tool is what you use to join your garments together. The sewing tool is what we use. It's just like it works similar way to the sewing tool that we have in the real world, to the sewing machine we have in the real world. Just the way you take your machine and you sew two different parts together, or you stitch your clothes. So that's how it works. And on Style3D we have three of that. We have the edit sewing machine. See the edit sewing machine as you've made a stitch or you've sewn a particular garment, and you're trying to kind of like you're trying to kind of like loosen this garment. You're trying to remove the stitches, or you're using your needle to just remove the stitches, or even blade to remove your stitches. So look at the edit sewing machine that way. Then we have the straight sewing machine, which the shortcut is N. So it allows you to sew from one line to another line. So it allows you to sew from one line to another line. So for an example, I can sew from this particular line to this line. So it's just like from when you have a point, and between one point and another point is a line, between one point and another point is a line. So I can just sew between those lines. I can't sew more than those lines. But we now have another sewing machine that is called the freehand sewing machine. So this one looks more like when we are using needle and thread to kind of like stitch our clothes, you know, then we can make it as big or as wide as we want, kind of. I just want us to get the concept. That's why I'm really like using like those words. So that shortcut is M for mango, M for monkey, things like that. But this one allows you to choose where you want to sew. So it's not like fixed to a particular line. It doesn't say you have to sew from one line to another line. You can choose where to sew. So for an example, if I want to sew from this point to just this point, and I want to sew it to the whole of this, okay, it's overlapping because I have one sewing there before. So if I want to sew from one line and I want to sew from this point to this point, for an example, so you see that I have the autonomy, I have the power to kind of like choose from which point to which point I want to sew, except there's already a sewing there before and it's going to like overlap the sewing, then it probably would not allow me to do that. So that's all the tools I would be looking on the home screen. Then I'm going to move to the assets. On the asset, we have several tools on the asset, and one of the tools we'll be looking at is the graphic tool. So this tool, if you want to add logos, icon, badge, and things like that to your garment, that's the tool you have. So it also consists of two of them. We have the edit graphic tool, and we have the graphic tool itself. This is the graphic tool. So when you click on the graphic tool, you see a pop-up here. So this part is yours. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. You see a pop-up here. This part is actually your scene tab, like I like to call it, or you can your scene tab. Then the one below it is actually your property editor. So what that means is this is where you edit stuff, and this part is like your layers in maybe Photoshop, or if you've used Canva before, it stands as like your layer. And when I click on this, it comes with default Style3D icon. So when I click on it, I can click on this plus icon to actually change the graphic to whatever graphic I want, or whatever graphics I have that I want to, or whatever graphics that I have that I want to change it to. So I'm going to change it to something like this. And as you can see, I now have a different icon on it, and I can just place it anywhere I want to. I can just place that anywhere I want to, anywhere I want to place that. So I can go ahead and place that there at this point, and the icon just kind of like stays there. And that's how I'm coming. The icon just kind of like stayed there. So that's how that icon works. Then you can scale the icon with your edit graphic tool. So I just have to go to my edit graphics tool, and I can use it to scale the icon to kind of like fit or wherever I want to place it. So if I want to place the icon on the the front part of my garment, I do the same thing. I go back to my edit graphics, and I just place it here, as you can see, and I can move it to anywhere I want to move it to. So basically that's how that one works. Then we have our button. If you want to have like a button O and things like that, so it's going to really like show up the same way the graphics work. You see the button, and you can come here and choose from. Okay, I think this is opening on my second screen. How do I? Okay, I need to move this. Okay, let's see if okay, just give me a minute. Let me see if I try to do this, if it will show up here. Okay, still not showing up. Okay, for some weird reason, the buttons are not showing up on my main screen. But when you click on this icon, you kind of like have like several buttons showing up, and you can pick, for an example, as you can see, I just changed the button. You can pick whatever buttons that you want, or whatever buttons you want to change to, and you can just use the button in your screen on your scene, similar to the other one we did before for the graphics. So that's the button, we can see it there. Then I think the one we'll be looking at is top stitch. So how to kind of like if you like if you want to do the hem of your garment, like you finish sewing a garment and you want to fold the lower part of the garment, or you want to create like a top stitch. So this also works the same way it works the same way as our sewing machine. The way I explained the sewing machine, that we have the straight sewing machine, so we have the straight top stitch, and we have the free top stitch. So if I use this one, as you can see, I can put it on different lines, and it just shows me the sewing straight up. But if I use the second one, I have to kind of like choose from what point that I want this top stitch to be, and that's where it would be. So that's the difference between the two. The editing also work the same way as the button and the graphic I explained earlier on. So those are the three tools we'll be looking at here. We looked at the graphics, we looked at the button, and we looked at the top stitch. Then the other two we'll be looking at here would definitely be to be honest, would definitely be the UV tools. And the UV tool is a bit I don't know, it's more a gamified experience. Say for an example, you finished your garment in Style3D and you want to send this garment over to maybe Blender, Maya, or you want to use this garment for let's say in Effect House or something like that. You have to make sure that the UV is properly done, and you have to make sure that the UV is fixated to one box. Like it has to be either in one box. It does not have to cross the line. As you can see, there's this line of the box, so you have to make sure that it is fixed in either of these boxes before you send it out. So there are a few ways to do this. One of the way is to manually scale this pattern to fit into the box. Another way is to right click on it and just do fit 0 to 1, so it fits within the box automatically. Then the other way to also do it is just to click on it and come over to layout. Just click on layout, then it kind of like also fits into that box. So there are several ways you can do it manually yourself, or you make use of some of the tools that Style3D have provided for us. So on this part, we also have like our animations tab. So this is our animation tab. You can create like animation for your avatar if you want to create like an animation for your avatar. So these are where you kind of like pick from different animations that Style3D have, as you can see, and that's if you're using the Style3D avatar. If you're not using the Style3D avatar, you need to bring in your own animation. So I think those are things. And under this part too, we have like the colorway. If you want to change different colors of different parts, we'll go in depth to some of these things when we are creating the actual garments. But as you can tell, this is a crash course. I just kind of like wanted to take us through what the whole of the Style3D software contains and what it's within the software. So you have this, and we also have like the rendering. If you want to render your garments, we also have that part as well in on the tools tab, so you can render your garment on this part as well. But we'll go, I'm not sure we'll get to the rendering part, setting camera and all of those things today, because today the main purpose of today is for us to just create one garment, for us to try our hands in creating one garment. So I'm going to stop here for the first session, which is me taking you guys through what the whole of the Style3D studio is about, and I would take a few questions before we dive into creating a proper garment today. So I don't know if you guys have any question for me, or if there's anything you missed out and you would like me to go over and explain. Oh, I want to assume we don't have any question, or did anybody drop any question in the chat?
I think someone did.
Ah, okay. Is it possible for you to read it out for me? I can't find it.
Okay, she said you should explain UV editing texture.
Ah, okay. So just 1 minute, I'll go over that.
Please indicate if you can't unmute your mic, because everybody's mic is supposed to be able to unmute. So indicate if you can't unmute your mic.
Ah, okay. So let's go back to the UV. So this is the UV. I'm just going to uncheck all this. I have a lot of things to check. Oh, yeah. So this is the UV. Then I'm going to synchronize this one back. Okay. So the UV, it is a way for you to actually use your garments in games or in virtual reality or in animation, and you have what you have in Style3D on any platform you're taking it to. So for an example, if the UV is not done properly and I send this garment to Blender, I might not have the same thing. For an example, my logos might not be properly positioned to where it is positioned in DAS. My zips might not be properly positioned, and it just a lot of things might not be aligned. And I don't want that. I want it in such a way that whatever I have in DAS is still the same thing that I'm going to have on my whatever I said DAS, sorry, whatever I have in Style3D is going to be the same thing I'm going to have in DAS, or the same thing I'm going to have in Blender if I send it to any of those software, or even Unreal Engine, or even Effectiles. Anywhere I send it to, I'm going to make sure that it's going to be the same thing that I have there. So to do that, I have to make sure that these patterns are properly arranged in either of these boxes. I can arrange it in more than one box, but I have to make sure that it fits into these boxes I am arranging it to. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all this pattern, either one, I manually just like scale it, and I want to make sure that I am scaling all of them together. If you scale one to be bigger than the other one, then it affects your textures. If you have textures, your textures start looking weird. Some parts will be bigger than some parts. But if you scale them to fit, or you scale them together, then you have the same thing. So it's either I start to scale it till I get like the perfect thing I'm looking for to fit in the box. So this is one way to do it. The other way I can do it is I can just right click on my, the other way to do it is I can just right click on my pattern and I do fit all to 0 to 1. Then what this means is that it's going to fit it in this box, but it fitting it in this box does not say to properly arrange it. Then I still have to come in, make sure no patterns are touching each other, make sure like everything is properly placed. I have to make sure that that is properly done. The other way I can do it is to also make sure that I come to the upper part of my window and I click layout here. So when I click layout here, I have everything fixed on one box. Or I can then go ahead, if I maybe want them to be bigger than the way it is, I can still go ahead and scale this and begin to like place them in different boxes. But all I have to make sure that is either I'm placing them on a straight line like this, or I'm coming down like this, or I'm going up like this, or I'm going this way. I can't place some like this, some like this, some like this, some like this. It has to go in one direction. And also I have to make sure that the patterns are fixed in these boxes and they are not touching each other and not touching any part of the box. I don't know if you get that. Okay. So do we have any question, or we should just move on? Do we have any other question? Is there anybody with any other question? Okay. So we are going to move on to what we are going to be creating today. Like I said in the beginning, it's going to be like a free class, or just putting our hands together to create something that's not like an actual thing we are going to create. Definitely we are creating a garment, and on this garment we want to make sure that we used as much possible tools on the Style3D studio as we can. So at the moment, I don't know what that would be, but would journey along. So I'm going to delete all this. I was trying to find something on Pinterest that we can recreate, but I just want us to contribute, like, oh, let's make the sleeves like this, let's make the dress like this, and we all come together to make something beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead back to my home, then select all this. Okay, I need to check out the, yeah. So I'm going to select all this and I'm going to delete it. Oh, someone is raising their hand. Just a minute. You can unmute and speak. Kindly explain to you. I can't currently on another meeting. Can you use a texture, please? I don't understand what you mean by can I use a texture? Can you explain what you mean by that? You mean add a texture to the, fabric? Is that what you're trying to say? Or add the texture to the pattern? Okay. So if you want to add the texture, you can just come in here. I think there are some textures file in Style3D that we can make use of. Okay. Let's just make use of any of this one. So I'm just going to say okay. Okay. So I just applied the texture to this. Then I'm going to go over to tools and I'm going to go over to UV, and I'm going to do the same thing, click on everything and just do layout. So yeah, is this what you're asking of? Is this what you're asking of? similar to unwrapping UV in Blender. So there is no unwrapping UV in Style3D. Style3D UV is already unwrapped. Their UVs come unwrapped already. So because it is joined by seams, so the UV is already unwrapped. It comes already unwrapped. You don't need to unwrap the UV because Style3D works with seam. So because you know, in Blender, you have to right click. If you are doing it automatically, you have to right click and press U to create seams. Then after creating seams, then you unwrap the UV. But in Style3D, because it's joined by seams already, we don't need to unwrap it. We just need to create the UV directly. So that's like the difference between unwrapping UV and actually creating the UV. So the UV is kind of like direct in Style3D. We don't need to unwrap UV, unlike what you have like in Blender. So those are the two differences. Do you get it now? If you are not happy with the way your texture is, can you adjust it? Yes, definitely you can adjust it. So you can actually create your, so all those would come from like when you're creating your textures. And I also feel like they have like the edit fabric, so you can also click on like the edit fabric here to kind of like edit your fabric, like your normals and some other stuff. But basically I always advise you do not texture inside of Style3D. You use proper texturing softwares like Substance Painter, like Substance Designer, where you can create your fabric and then bring it into Style3D or use it where else you want to use it. But then you can still like edit your texture here. You can edit like the size and some other things that has to do with it, but not like it's very limited, because as you can tell, it's not a texture editing software, it's a garment creation software. So but if you are peculiar about like working more on your textures, I would say you make use of proper texturing softwares. Yes, so you make use of proper texture. So you have like texture transformation here, where you can do some tiling, change the height and change the width of your texture. But you might not get like 100% the best, but if you're looking for something more exotic and something more fascinating, I would still suggest you make use of editing, not proper texturing software. But yes, you can use Style3D to tile by making use of what I just showed you right now, the texture transformation. So you can use that. So I hope you get the gist now. Okay. So I'm going to, so now that I've explained, okay, good. So now that I've explained the whole like Style3D tools and everything that has to do with it in a short day, is a bit much. There's still like a lot of tools you guys can explore within Style3D. This is a crash course for you guys to just understand how the software works and what are the core features of the software. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this, and I'll go back to my home. So we are going to create something very little, and I want us all to contribute to this to create like the very little stuff. So there are two ways of creating in Style3D. If you want to start, number one is you can import in a DXF pattern. If you have, number one is you can import in a DXF pattern if you have like a DXF pattern of your own that you want to make use of. So that's one way to kind of like do it. If you have a DXF pattern of your own, you can make use of that. And the other way to do it is you can make use of what do they call it? You can make use of drafting your patterns yourself. Like maybe you want to create a garment, you can make use of drafting your pattern yourself. Another way to go about it, you can use an already made pattern like the one I loaded initially. And the other way is you can just drape your patterns yourself. So trying to see on Pinterest if I can lay my hands on something that we can easily look at. But before getting there, I'm just going to start. So to make things easier, because we do not have so much time on our hand, I'm going to start. The best way to start for a beginner is to actually make use of default or ready-made patterns that you can just adjust to something that you want. So let's have a look at this. Just give me 1 minute. I'm trying to see if my PureRef, if I can show my PureRef on this screen as well. I don't know why it's not showing on the screen. Just give me 1 minute to quickly sort this. Okay. Okay. Try resharing on Google Meet. I guess resharing as okay. All right, maybe I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to try and reshare and see if that would come up. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to try and reshare. So stop sharing and screen reshare. So I just did that. So let me see if this would open now. Fine. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for that. It worked now. Okay. So yeah. So let's see if we can in the next 30. Thank you for that. So let's see if we can in the next 30 to 40 minutes recreate this using like a default pattern. I'm just going to put it somewhere. So yeah. So from everything I've explained earlier, we are just going to try to have a look at something like this. So to start with something like this, as you can tell, we need the upper part before we need the lower part, and we need to join the upper part and the lower part together. So I'm going to start with a default pattern because I don't want to go ahead and start drafting the pattern, because I believe some of us are beginner, and the best way to start is to start from a template. So I'm going to make use of Style3D template, which is this one, and I'm going to do add, and I'm just going to add it to the scene. So yeah, that's what we have. So once it's added to the scene, another thing I didn't mention earlier is when you have your garment, to actually put your garment together, you need to actually use the space bar, or you come here and just use this icon. So to join the garment together, like to join your the parts you've sewn together, to make them like fix together. So you just click. Okay, it seems my keyboard is not working. So I just did that. It's going to take a bit of time since this is the first time I'm trying to simulate the garment together. You just have to wait for it. Good. So so while I'm working, I like to work with, so there's something called particle distance in Style3D. So what that means is, like, as you can see, the way the fabric is smooth or the way the fabric drapes. So I like to make sure that I'm working with a very low particle distance, so that my laptop do not hang or something. So what I mean by that is, if you select all your patterns and you come to your property editor, just scroll down a little bit, you see something that says particle distance and is on 20. If I put this on maybe 10 or 5 or 8, you see that the way the garment will drape is different from what I presently have. and that's like the function of particle distance. But while walking, I like to keep it at 20. And when we were having when we started this webinar, somebody mentioned that, oh, their laptop were crashing when they installed the software. So that might be one of the reasons. It might be that your particle distance is on maybe like 5, 8, or 7. So you need to watch that and make sure that your particle distance is actually very low to make it work. So yeah, let's get started into it. I'm not going to be starting with the neckline. We are going to be coming to the neckline much later, but what we are going to do now is actually construct the base of our garment. So the first thing first I'm going to do is, as you can see, the what do they call it? The waistline. The waistline, there's like some things going on the waistline, and we're going to try. I think it's called, to be honest, I don't know the English. I know what it is on my head, but I'm finding it difficult to pronounce it out. Yeah. So we are going to try and create that first. And as you can tell, the upper part of the cloth is also to the waistline and not as long as what we have. So I'm going to use my Z2. I'm just going to click on Z on my keyboard. I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to try to move this up like this. Maybe a little bit like this, something like this. Then what I'm going to go ahead to do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to add isometric internal line. So this is coming like this because the pattern with the default template we're using is a symmetry pattern. And as you can see, this is like not really that long. So I think I'm just going to leave it at, I think 5 is a lot. I think I'm going to leave it at 3 or maybe 4. I think let's do 4. Then I'm going to just do OK. Then I think I want to shift these lines. I want to shift this line so that they meet at the middle. So I want to shift it like this, something like this. But to have like a better way of working, you can do away with this line. So if I right click and I cancel the axis, this pattern would not be symmetry anymore, and I can just easily work with. So I'm just going to delete this. So if I click on this and I right click and I say add internal line, as you can see, I don't have to deal with those double lines I'm having. I'm having the double lines because of this pattern is symmetry. But now that I deleted the symmetry, I don't have to deal with the double line. So the symmetry is good because it makes you work faster, but sometimes it can be a pain. So I'm just going to delete this one, and I'm going to take away the isometry as well. Then I'm just going to click on this, right click, and do add internal line. Same thing, and just do OK. So I'm going to leave both of them like this. Then you just want to click on your lines, hold down shift to click on the second line. Then you right click and you do cut and sew. So what this simply means is that it's going to cut and sew the garment at the same time. So I'm going to then use my Q2. I'm going to click on my Q2. Then I'm going to move these two of them down and click on Z, and I'm going to change the length. As you can tell from this cloth, the waistline is not as wide as this. So I want to change the length just a little bit, not something too much, but I just want to change it a little bit. Presently, we have 45.07 and we have 44.87. So just to reiterate, what I'm presently doing is freehand drafting. I just want the clothes to fit this avatar without taking into consideration the measurement of the avatar, because usually sometimes if you're dressing a physical person, you need to take consideration of the measurement. So because this is a crash course, it's just for us to know how to use the tools basically. So I'm going to go to change length after I right click, and I think I'm just going to do 40. And I'm going to do this on both sides so that I don't have a weird looking garment. And I'm going to do 40 for this one as well. And I'm going to do it on both sides at the same time. So something like this. And I'm going to do OK. So as you can tell, this is what we presently do have. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do Q. I'm going to change the length of this band to something very small. So I'm just going to get rid of this point. So to change the length of this band to something very small, I'm just going to select this one, and I think I can select both of them at the same time. And I'm just going to do change length, and I'm going to change the length to whatever it is I want. So I think it should be smaller, so I might probably do maybe 20. I think that would be very small. So I'm going to do 25, and I'm going to do both. So in this instance, once you have the measurement of the person you're using, like, so you check their waist, what is the measurement of their waist, and that's what you would be imputing, where I'm just using 25, I'm just doing a guessing game, is the exact measurement of the person waist you would be using. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the back as well. Just click on this, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do change length, and I think I used 27. Yeah, and I'm going to do both as well. But you have to make sure that you're using the person's exact measurement. So as you can tell, we are already like having something already. It's already like looking like it. So like I said, I'm working on the structure first before we start doing the whole peripheral that has to come with it. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the lower part now. So the lower part is like a circle skirt. So I'm going to try and create like a circle skirt to create this flowing. And also when you're doing something like this, you have to also bear in mind the type of fabric you're using, because the type of fabric to also constitutes to how a garment will drape. So for an example, if you're using a cotton fabric, it's different from when you're using like a polyester fabric, or it's even different from when you're using like different fabric. If I'm using a fur, the way the fabric will stand is different from when I'm using like an elasticated fabric, things like that. So you have to look at that. So to create my circle skirt, I'm going to use an E to create the circle. Then I'm just going to hold down shift because I want the circle to be perfect. So I think this is too big. Then again, you have to make sure that you're using the person measurement if you are making this garment for someone. Then I'm going to hold down because I need to create like the waistline here. So I'm going to hold down shift as well, and to create like an internal circle inside of this. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you select all these edges, just the way we did for the garment. You select all these edges one after the other, and you right click and you do create internal line. So I'm just going to select this and try to place it in the middle using my move tool, and I'll just use this to place it in the middle. So something like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to convert to O. So I have something like this. Then again, you have to measure. So you have to do something like this to be sure. You know, we had used 27. So 27 plus 27, that's like 54. So you have to be sure that this is giving you 54. Presently, this is more than 54. Yeah, this is 93. So you have to be sure that it's just 54. So you can select it and just try to scale it down. Okay, you can select it and just try to scale it down by holding down shift to give you that size you want. So something like this. Then you can go ahead and now place it within your avatar. So you just turn around and place it somewhere here. So you have something like this. So this one that we presently have does not really like what's the word? If this skirt should drape, I presume it's going to be small, but because we are not working with an exact measurement, I'm just going to manually scale this like this to make it a bit bigger, so that when it drapes, it's kind of like big. So I'm going to go in with my sewing. So this is where, so now I'm going to use my freehand sewing, because as you can tell, I have one line and I need to join it to 2 points. So I'm going to go ahead and sew from this point to this point, then also from this point like this to this point. So that's going to be my first sewing. I'm going to turn to the back as well like this, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. So I'm going to move this forward so that you guys can see clearly. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do from this point down to this point. Then also I'm going to take it from this point like this down to this point. Then I'm going to try and simulate this. So to do that, I don't want this garment touching the hand of the avatar. It might still touch the hand of the avatar, but yeah, let's see if we can do something about that. So I'm just going to bring it down like this, and I'm going to simulate this. So like I said, this is not, I want it longer than what I presently have. So I'm going to hold down shift again, and I'm going to try to increase the size of this to something like this, and I'm going to simulate. It's not still as long as I want it. So as you can tell, the J-pin is presently different from what we have. Like I said, the kind of fabric we are using really matters a lot. So I'm going to do this. So yeah, I think this looks good. Then, okay, I think this looks good already. So I'm going to also go back and see if I have 54 here. Just select this, select this, select this, and select this. This is going to be more than, so this is like 120 something. So what you can do is you can just scale it or change the length one after the other. But I'm just going to click on Q to select this, and I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm just going to scale it. So again, if you're making this garment or pattern for someone, you have to make sure that you are going in with the correct measurement and you're not doing guessing game like I am doing. So this is still a lot. So I'm still going to select this and go to Q and just hold down Shift and do something like this. So I'm just going to make sure this is in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to simulate this now. So as you can tell, it's longer than what we have. That's fine. We can correct that. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and try and change the fabric so that I have something similar to what we have. So if I go in, I can come here. So I can either go inside of the fabric and edit the fabric myself, or edit the fabric. When I say edit the fabric, it means changing the property of the fabric. Or I just come inside of Style3D fabric file and I just look for a fabric that I think would work. So you can see the thickness. They give like brief information of like the fabric, so you can see the thickness and some other things, and this makes you choose whatever one you want. I think this should work. Let's see. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to come to the fabric is on default, and I think this is the fabric, and I'm just going to change the fabric, and I'm going to try and simulate it. Okay, it's even worse than what we have. So I just have to look for a fabric that I think might fit what I'm looking for. So let's try this one. So usually you would already have like a fabric in mind. Maybe you want to use a cotton fabric, or you want to use XYZ fabric. You would always have that in mind, or you create like your own fabric composition yourself if you can't find the exact type of fabric you're looking for on the Style3D. So I'm just trying to close this up. So if you can't find the exact fabric, so under your physical property, you will see like the bending ratio and some other things of your fabric in, and you can then use this to edit your fabric to what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and just change this and see if this gives me what I want, and if not, we are just going to manually do it. So I think this is also not, so let's just manually do it. So this is the fabric. Then we are just going to see if we want to stretch, if we want to increase the bending. So you can make sure that it's being simulated while you do that. So you can see the changes now from what I'm having before. So if I do the stretch, so you can see that we are having something close already from adjusting the fabric. So I can go ahead and also still open this up and do it one after the other if I don't want to do it in a group. Then I think I would reduce this a little bit. Okay, maybe this one a little bit. Then I can also still go ahead and play with this just to get like what I think I'm looking for. So this is if you can find the fabric composition you're looking for. I think I'm going to increase this a little bit. Maybe something like this. And I'm going to take this here. Okay. So I think I'm going to have it like this and just leave it like this. I won't go deep into like really editing the fabric. So I'm just going to keep this at this, and once it's at this, we can make do with this. So there are a few things I need to do. Number one thing I need to do is, as you can tell, is too long. I need to adjust the height of the garment. That's number one thing. The height of the garment needs to be adjusted. Then I think I also need to adjust the one at the upper part, which is this one. I need to adjust that as well. So I'm going to just come in here, and I'm just going to select this. So this won't happen if you're using like a proper measurement. You won't have to be doing this try and error of adjusting it if you have like the person's proper measurement, so you know where the waistline is already, and you know like every of those stuff already. So yeah, so the next thing is I'm also going to reduce the length of this one. So I'm going to just hold this and hold this and hold this and hold this. Then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do add internal line, and I can do maybe I think a 4 is okay, because then I'm going to cut this and just delete it. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do cut, and I'm going to delete the excess using Q. Then I can take away the excess. So let's see if, okay, this circle is not properly placed, so we have to, so I think I'm just going to place this circle here so that we can get the midpoint. Okay, good. So once that circle is placed there, then I'm going to move this one here like this. Okay, I think this is the middle, not yet. So okay, so I'm going to have it like this. So yeah, so as you can tell, we have something that is making sense. So yeah, I think this look good already. Then I can, so the next thing I'm going to look at now, before we go back to the waist, is I'm going to look at the neckline, editing the neckline. Then from the neckline, we go to the waist, then we go to the sleeve, and we do like the last part of the last bit of it. So I'm going to go to the neckline. As you can see, this is like a V-neck kind of thing, not like a round neck like we have. And as you can tell, there is the upper part of the neck is kind of like high. So what you want to do first is you want to know where you have your sewing with this. So we have like a sewing here. So we just want to take out this one. We want to make sure that this is deleted. And also we are going to put like an internal line here to cut this into two. So I'm going to just do X, but with my pen tool, or still with my sewing tool. I'm just going to right click on here and just add a point here. So then I'm going to go in with my X now, since the point is added. I'm going to add the same point here, just trace it out. But sometimes you can just like measure it. Then I'm going to go in with D, just to, yeah, something like this. Then I'm going to do Z and just right click on this and just do cut, since I don't need this other part again anymore. So I'm going to do Q, and I'm going to delete this one. So I only need the one at the back. I don't need the one at the front. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try as much as possible to reduce this neckline first. So and this would have been where the what do they call it, where the symmetry would have been useful, because then I would not have to do this like manually, like coming to do it manually one after the other. That would have just been useful for me to use. So I can then come like this and bring this one like this. So usually, so you have something like this for the neckline. I think this is a bit wide. It's still wide than what we are looking for, but it's a good start. Then I'm going to increase this one. I'm going to make this one higher a little bit, so we have something like this. So as you can tell, it's coming together already. So all you just need to do now is you need to now create something similar and now stitch this. As you can tell, this neckline is being stitched to this other one. So that's what we are going to try and do now. We are going to try and stitch the back neckline to the front neckline. So I deleted that one. I'm just going to create like this one again. So maybe Control C, Control V, and I'm going to place it here. And I'm going to just have it stitched to this one like this. Or another way you can do it is you can actually leave this like this and just double it up, or just fold it inside so that it's not showing. So what I mean by that is I can make this a little bit tall. Maybe I should do Z, make it like something like this, taller than this. Then I just go in with my sewing tool and I just sew this part and this part together again. So something like this. So I just have it something like this. So to get a better view of this, you need to, so then I'm going to stitch this part and this part together. So I can use my freehand sewing to just come in and do like an X, put like a midpoint here, just do uniform stitch and do the same thing here, uniform stitch, and stitch this part together with my sewing machine. So I'm just going to stitch this one and this one together, this one and this one together, and just have it like this. So once that is stitched, so for things like this, you want to also go in and make sure that your what do they call it, your particle distance is set to like a lower value. So I'm just going to reduce my particle distance like 10, and I'm just going to do okay. So as you can tell, it's getting more better than what I have. Then you want to just drag it to make sure that it is looking so good. So what you want to do now is you want to create something similar to the collar on this other part. So what you can do is I'm just going to move this forward a little bit. Okay. And move this forward a little bit. So like I'm saying once again, you need to have like measurements for all these things. This is just a practical example of how you can. Is there a documentation for the shortcut? There's actually no documentation for the shortcut that I'm aware of. But then I think that what you can do is you can probably send me an email if you need the documentation, and I can put it together and send it over to you. That's another thing I can do. So this is like 2.80. So I'm just going to click this, and I'm going to click this, and I'm going to do offset, add internal line, and I'm just going to do 2.80. So okay, so something like this. And what that means is I'm going to have this stitch to this. So I'm just going to find a way to just right click on this and on this one, and I'm just going to right click and do cut and sew. And I'm going to go in with my sewing machine now and probably just delete the initial sewing we have here. And I'm going to also delete this initial sewing. And I'm going to leave this one. And I'm going to leave this one as well. So then the next thing I want to do is Q. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to have to stitch this one to this one. So going with my sewing machine, and stitch this one to this one, then turn the other way around as we stitch this one to this one as well. So this sewing is wrong, so I'm going to go in with my edit sewing machine, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to right click on do and do reverse sewing. So since this is not being proper, the other way I'm going to do it is I'm going to kind of like place them together. So to do that, I'm going to create like an internal line to kind of like place this together. So I can do this and use my Z, and I will just do cut and sew. And with that, I can then check the sewing. This one is sewn to this one. Or just for better view, I'm just going to take out one and do this, and I'm going to check. Okay, I'm just going to sew this one again. So I'm going to sew this part, which is this one. So this one, make sure it is properly sewn. So something like this. And okay, the other part is done, and I'm going to just, so yeah. So this is like something we have already. So the next thing I just need to do is I just need to adjust this back one, which is this one, to make it like bigger. So to do that is I'm going to do X. So I can put like a point here and a point here and just like adjust it so that it is way bigger. I won't spend much time on that because I think, yeah, we are past time already, almost past time already. So I'm just going to leave that for now, and we can always come back to it. So for the sleeve, what you want to do on the sleeve is, so you can also kind of like hide this sewing as well if you don't want the sewing to be very if you don't want the sewing to be very visible, you can hide this this sewing we have here as well. Then for the sleeve, then as you can tell, there are some cuffs and things that the neckline have. So the cuff too, I explained the other time, are things you can use to kind of like adjust it. So for the sleeve, you want to make it longer and you want to kind of like put like a band at the edge of the sleeve so that you get like this volume and fullness. So you just want to do like a Q. So you just want to do like a Q, select your sleeve, then your Z2 to make it like longer, maybe something like this. Then I'm going to simulate this. Okay. So I'm just going to make this proper. So you just drag it, like once you simulate something and it's not simulated properly, you just want to drag it like this to have something like this. You want to drag it properly. So something like this. Okay, you want to do the same thing for the other side. So you want to have something like this as well. So once you have, something like this, I don't know if this length is okay. I can just, so I'm just going to do a Z, so something like this. You want to go ahead and make the sleeve a bit wider than what you presently have. Then you also want to make the length bigger than this. So I'm just going to change the length. Like I mentioned, you need to have like a proper measurement for all this. What I'm just doing is for you to understand how the tool works. Then you want to go ahead and simulate this. So you're going to have something like this first. Then you want to go ahead and add like maybe a band or something to the hand side. So I can just make use of this Command Z, Command V. So then if you click on A is like a shortcut that gives you like this blue point. So I'm just going to place this here on the hand, just to use it to create like what do they call it, to create like a band that I'm going to use for the hand. So something like this. I think this is big, but I'm just going to still go ahead and stitch this together with my sewing machine, the straight sewing machine, because I'm just sewing from one point to another. So this is what I'm just trying to do. So as you can tell, that band is still big, so I can go ahead and use Q and just make it like smaller. So usually you would take the measurement of the wrist of the person before you go ahead and make. So yeah, so this is the band. So I think this band now fits now. So the next thing is to now sew the to stitch this one to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do in, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch this together like this. So as you can tell, that's what we have. Then I'm going to go ahead and do this. So then I can go ahead and have something like this. So as you can see, this is okay. So the next thing is just to reduce the particle distance. So I'm going to use a 10 here. Okay. So yeah, as you can tell, then I'm just going to move this, and I'm just going to have this. So if you feel like you're not getting like enough, you're not getting enough fold, you can still go ahead and increase maybe the length of the sleeve, or just do something to it to get like enough fold. So as you can tell, the hand is almost similar to what we have like in the picture. So I'm just going to do right click on this one and just do symmetric pattern with seam, since we have almost similar stuff with our garments. So I think just going to make sure this aligns properly like this, so that when I simulate it, it kind of like works. So yeah, so just go ahead and do the same thing for this one, something like this. And yeah, that's our sleeve there, right there. So that's our sleeve right there. The next thing I'm going to work on is the waistband. Then, so for the waistband, you want to go ahead and click on both of them. Then you want to right click, and you want to do what is it? You want to create another one on top. So I'm going to create one outside or inside, anyone. So I'm just going to pick outside, and it comes sometimes it comes pretty much sewn together. As you can see, they are sewn together already. So that means this is being doubled. So what I want to do is I want to make this smaller, and once I'm making this smaller, the new ones I'm adding, I just added also, would also take that form. It's also going to be smaller compared to, so as you can see, they are both smaller. So I'm just going to click on this one, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to remove link editing. What that means is that when I edit this one, this does not edit, because I want to make this larger so that I can get some kind of folds and aesthetics that I am looking for. And I'm going to just click on this, and I'm going to go ahead and select this like this, and I'm going to add like some wrinkage, some elasticity, so I can also make this one the particle distance maybe 5, and the particle distance of this one maybe just maybe like that, or a 10, or just something like that. So as you can tell, you will start to see some folds on the stuff. So I think just going to okay. Okay, okay, all right. I think it's not in order. One is inside and one is outside. So let's right click on this one, and let's just come here and just layer it outside. So to layer something outside, I'm just going to click on one. Okay, and I'm going to, so you can see that we now have this one outside now. Then if I want this one to be on the top of it, I can use like maybe a 2 for this one. It shows me this one, something like this, and I can take this one back to 0. So that's how you possibly create like layers in Style3D. And I can go ahead and still enlarge this one, then add elasticity to it, elastic rather, I said elasticity, and add elastic to it to give you that look you're looking for. So as you can tell, even at the moment, we are already having that wrinkle already. So I can still go ahead and enlarge this again. Just select this and enlarge it. Something like this, until I get the perfect look that I am looking for. It might get really rough, but if you don't mind, you just you can just, yeah, you can assist it a little bit if you don't want to waste too much time. So I think a better way would be just select it and right click and do reset 3D pattern. So you can reset 3D pattern, so you have something like this, or better still, you leave it and you just try to select each of the patterns. So this is the front pattern for an example. I'm just going to select this like this, and this one is this one, and I'm just going to bring this one like this, and I'm just going to simulate it again. So by doing that, as you can tell, I'm having like the fold that is on the waistline gradually. So I can still go ahead and make this one smaller to achieve my results faster. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Hi everyone. While you are taking the class, please check the comment section for updates. If you need material for the class or the class link, the recorded class, please drop your name and your email and we would forward it to you. Thank you. Go ahead.
so oh, okay. So this is like how you create something like the waist, the sleeve. Then I think before we come back to the neckline, because we still do not have like a proper neckline yet. The neckline is going to take like a bit of time, and I want us to like get as much as possible from this webinar. That's why I moved out of it so that I do not take too much time trying to do that. So this is how the waistline would look like. Then the next thing you're going to want to look at is, if you notice, we have these sewings as well. So to create this, you want to come here on your circle skirt. You want to do the same thing we did initially, which is selecting all the parts like this. So once all this part is selected, you want to right click on it and you want to do add internal line. Then you want to choose the exact place you want it to be. So let's say if I do a 50, I would have something like this, and you can see like where this is. But as you can tell, we have it like more on the upper side of things. So there are two ways to do this. I can scale this, or I can just delete this and just try to create another one and see where it would fall to. But with proper measurement, I don't need to like have like the back and forth thing. So I can do like a, let's try 70, so you can see where it is. I think 80 would be better. Okay, this is 78. I think I'm just going to do 80. Okay, so we can do 80, so we have something like this. So what you want to do next is you want to then go ahead and stitch a pattern on this one. So you want to create like using your rectangle to your Z, you want to create something like this. And so I think this is big, so I'm just going to do Q and I'm just going to resize this one. So you want to have something like this. Depending on how small or how big you want it to be, then with your sewing machine, you want to go ahead and just like stitch this together. So something like this, and you come here and you stitch it up to this point. So that's one way to do it, but mind you, that might be very rough. When it's stitching together, it might also take like a bit of time, because as you can tell, this is long, and yeah, and it might make your stuff rough. So you really have to like have some patience and some stuff. So I'm going to reduce this as much as I can to maybe something like this. And also I think this is, so I'm going to leave this. So I'm going to just simulate this and see. So like I said, this is way big, so we just have to find a way to make it smaller. So to do that, I'm going to reduce this, maybe like this. Okay. So it also boils down to like the kind of like fabric you're using, like I said the other time. I'm going to reduce this. I think this is still too much. We need it as small as we can, maybe like this. Okay. So this is one way to go about this, and you begin to like work on your fabric till your fabric is standing tall like this. Then the other way you can do this is to actually create like a pleat. Make sure like your circle skirt is pleated at the lower part. And another way to do this is to have this like this. Maybe let me just show you guys that. To have this on a, so I'm just going to duplicate this, Command C, Command V. Then I'm going to put this here. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to go ahead and have it like this. Okay, still long. So something like this. As small as it can get, maybe something like this. I'm going to go ahead and stitch this together. So let's stop stitching this. Let's go this one. Okay, it's just one. So I'm just going to enlarge this one as much as I can. Okay. I think we need to round up now. Well, basically, I hope you guys get the gist. We are not able to kind of like completely finish making the garments, but I think you guys get the gist of how to kind of like create like a garment in Style3D. What you need is your fabric composition. You can start with a default fabric, and you can just proceed from there till you get what you want. So I think we can go ahead and take okay, we can then go ahead and take question. And someone said I dropped a message at the Q&A. If you're still on the call, can you just go ahead and say your message, your question?
I don't think she's here anymore.
Yeah, okay. Do we have anybody that have like any question or anything? Okay, you can go ahead and ask it if you have. You can either type it on the chat or just say it to me. Stella as well, you can either unmute and just ask your question.
Hi, Hadeeart. Thank you so much for the lesson. It's very nice. I wanted to ask, is there going to be like an advanced class on this class or be lesson that you tutored us today, or should we wait a little bit for that?
This is just a webinar, like it's just for you to get to know the tools and how to use the software. I presently run an academy, so if you're interested in kind of like learning more the in total of the tools one after the other and how to like create the garments in details, how to edit the fabric, then you can send an email. I'm going to drop it on the chat. Then we're going to take it up from there of how you can be part of the academy. At the moment as well, we also run like a 40% discount off. So that would be really nice. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about your question. So I don't know if I answered your question properly.
Yes, thank you very much. We just wait for the email then.
Okay, so I'll drop my email on the chat and you can go ahead and send an email to the academy. When simulating, sometimes the reverse side of the garment shows up. How do I solve that? So if you're simulating and you have the reverse side of your garment, you just want to, there are few ways to, you want to right click and you want to do invert selection. So as you can see, this has changed. So you want to invert the selection. So that's one way to go about it. And another way to go about it is you can flip your orientation, the orientation of your garment. You can flip it from one side to another side to kind of like create like a proper like to change from left to right or from right to left. So that's how you kind of like flip your garment. And another thing you can do is that you can just use like your simulation. You keep dragging it till you get like the perfect look and feel that you're looking for. I don't know if I answered that question correctly. So I have dropped the email in the chat for people that would be interested in the academy. So you can reach out to me and just make mention that you are from the webinar, and we'll be happy to offer you 40% off, a 40% discount off for the academy. So I don't know if anybody has any other question for me.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Irene. I'm the founder of Announced Digital Fashion. Thank you so much, Hadeeart, for this class. We would be issuing everyone interested in the course, in furthering the course, a certificate of attendance, which you would use in getting your 40% discount. So please don't forget to put your name and your email in the chat box, and we will send it to you alongside the recording and everything you would need. Thank you very much for attending the class. And also, there's also the link to our community. If you would like to get more details on the African digital fashion community, you should join in and follow the updates. And today will be the last day for submissions for the ADF exhibition happening in Lagos, Nigeria. So if you still want more details on that, you can, find it in the group. So we will be waiting for your names and your email in the chat box. Thank you so much, Hadeeart, for this course. And we also offer more workshops every month for gaming, AR, VR, 3D, AI. So more will be coming up. And this month was for 3D, and this is the end for it. So thank you guys so much. Hadeeart, if you are done.
Yes, I think I'm done. Same, okay, I think there's a question. Same person, please showing the reverse, same pattern fabric after pleating, some pleats showing the reverse side. So I think the same method work. When you're simulating, you just have to stretch it a bit so that they are showing the same side, or you kind of like reverse your sewing. That's how to go about it. You just have to like keep at it and just use like the shortcut key to kind of like achieve that. So I think that will be the all from my own end. And thank you guys for attending the class. And apologies that we're not able to kind of like finish the garments, but I hope you guys learn one or two things and you're going to explore Style3D. And I can't also wait to have some of you in class as well. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next workshop. All right. Bye. Don't forget to drop your names or your emails and join the community on WhatsApp. Bye, Hadeeart.
Bye.